Good evening, Japanese card fans. Welcome back to Menko Man Cards. Tonight I'd like to do a quick video on the difference between 1970s Menko mini cards and Bromide. And I get this question quite a bit, people asking me what is the difference between the Menko and the mini cards and the Bromides from the 70s. And so we'll talk about that here really quick in this video. But before we do that, let's talk about Japanese trading cards in general. So if you recall, back in the 1950s, Menko were extremely popular. There was thousands of sets, if not tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, probably even millions of Menko cards printed. And this lasted from the 1900s all the way up until about 1962, 1963, where in the span of about 1 year, Menko production ceased. Pretty amazing. You can see the trace of different trading cards, different Menko. And in 1962, 1963, there are no more sets. So they basically ended in 62 and 63. And there's a couple reasons. The first reason is Japan was going through extreme economic boom during this time, and so there was a huge emphasis on schooling, getting ahead in life, and less emphasis on toys and games. And so Menko became less popular as kids became they studied a lot more. And they spent a lot less time outside entertaining themselves. So they spent a lot more time inside entertaining themselves, either with schoolwork or actually television was probably the prime killer of Menko. Television became more popular, more accessible to kids and adults and families, and so kids spent less time outside, more time inside watching television. So fast forward from 1962, 1963 to 1972, 1973, all of a sudden you see this huge resurgence of Menko cards, and that's due to color television being accessible, affordable to families, and not just because the televisions were accessible, but what was on the television. There were all sorts of great TV shows, movies, entertainment, and so these companies tried to find a venue to advertise these shows, and the best way to do that is to get to kids, and the best way to get to the kids is through Menko mini cards and Bromides, and really these are a form of entertainment. So let's take a quick look at the differences. So I'm going to move these two stacks over here, the Bromide stack, kind of move that out of the way so we can talk about the Menko. We'll remove the mini card stack, and then talk first of all about Menko. So 1970s Menko are pretty unique, and you can see those in front of me. I have about 10 here. They're very thick, and the size is standardized at 1 3/4 inch approximately by 3 inches. So you can see fairly narrow and fairly tall. And so this set is actually one of my Bruce Lee sets produced by Toa, and they were, I believe, the not production company, but advertising company for the Bruce Lee's movies in Japan in the 1970s. But you can see these Menko cards, still shots of the movie of Bruce Lee. Take a look at the back. So you can see all sorts of different themes on the back. You got spaceships, which was really popular at the time. You got helicopters, missiles, another missile there, jet fighters, which was really popular to the kids. More missiles, satellites. But you can see it also has the traditional Menko back. Pips playing cards. You've got the Guchokipa, the rock, scissors, paper. You've got the fighting number here, through 5 digits in this case. And then you've got this war-themed word here. And so these are all the traditional elements of a Menko from the 1950s that they carried into the 1970s. So again, you can see fairly thick. You can't really bend them. They're very stiff. Really used for playing Menko again in the 1970s. Another, probably the more popular trading card in Japan during the 70s are mini cards. And mini cards, they're a little more square, and they were standardized about 2 inches by 2 5/8 inches, and so you can see them here. These came in packs, which were inside boxes, and you would win prizes, and I'll show you here in just a second one of the winner stamps. But you can see Again, this is advertising Bruce Lee. In this case is the Green Hornet. So again, movie still shots of the Green Hornet, or actually I should say TV show stills of the Green Hornet with Bruce Lee, who was extremely popular in the early 1970s. So I'll turn them over on the back. You can see here's actually a winner stamp, canceled out. Typical to just have the shop owner cancel these out, but it's a lucky card, a tawdry lucky card, and what this got you was a free binder to hold your cards. And so there was about 60 packs per box. Each pack maybe had 1 or 2 cards in them, and then one of the cards would actually be a lucky card. And you can see numbered at the top, blue ink, typically white cardstock. And so these are the mini cards of the 1970s. So I'll hold those up and you can see more square, approximately the same size as the Menko, but a little more square. So the last trading cards that were popular in the 1970s are called Bromides. And Bromides are really just pictures, and they're photographs. They're on thin cardstock. You can see here, I can bend it really easily. It's laminated, glossy. And these were not used to play any sort of game. They were just to advertise something. And in this case, this is the supercar set from the late 1970s. But this set advertised all the fancy sports cars, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, from the 1970s. And so these types of cars were extremely popular in Japan in the 1970s. And so they issued bromides to have kids buy the cards and trade the cards with each other, trying to get different cards. You can see on the back these particular bromides just showed the different kinds, Maserati, Lamborghinis, and then it has all the specs of the car, you know, weight, height, length, horsepower, and all that. And so you can see those are the bromides. And these were issued in taba packs, so these were issued in hanging bundles, in envelopes, and you would rip one off the taba pack, pull it out, and you would typically for these, the winner, if you pulled a pack and it was a winner pack, you would get free pulls, and that's typically how they were introduced. So I'll pull all these back out again. Bromide, mini card, and Menko. And so what I'll do, hopefully over the next few weeks, I'll open some packs of each of these and just give you an idea of what it was like to open actual packs of these cards back in the day. So thanks for tuning in. My next video will actually be, I'll open up some bromides from a box I just got recently, and I'll open up some bromides and explain just a little bit more about bromides. So with that, thank you very much. Stay tuned for the next video. Have a good one. Sayonara.